Yes, we've been busy. Happy summer, everybody.
Yeah, happy summer. Rock and Roll Confessional. Here we are. We're back. Rita Wild.
It's time for another episode. So excited about this one because Joe Bonamassa is not a household name like Eric Clapton, but if you ask any musician, one of their top artists, Joe will surely be included. Only in his 40s, Bonamassa has become a living legend with an astounding multi-genre catalog. Collectively, Bonamassa has over 40 albums to date with studio and live recordings, collaborative albums with blues sensation Beth Hart, and his adventurous side party projects, Black Country Communion and Rock Candy Funk Party. Prolific writer, always on the hunt to expand his eclectic musical horizons, Bonamassa has a limitless work ethic, whether it's in the studio, on the road, or working with other artists to spur new music.
He's been featured in several publications, including the Wall Street Journal, Esquire, Rolling Stone, American Songwriter, and Parade, as well as the covers of Guitar World, Guitar Player, Vintage Guitar, Acoustic Guitar, and Classic Rock Magazine.
The New York State native opened for B.B. King when he was only 12 years old, and he has since played alongside such artists as Eric Clapton, Stephen Stills, John Lee Hooker, Warren Haynes, Steve Winwood, Peter Frampton, and Buddy Guy, among others. B.B. King might not have guessed at the time, but that 12-year-old prodigy would go on to become an industry powerhouse.
Building on their 30-year partnership, Bonamassa and manager Roy Weissman created their own record label, management, marketing, and concert promotion company called J&R Adventures almost 2 decades ago. Together, the two Mavericks devised a 360-degree independent business model that has survived and thrived during one of the music industry's most uncertain eras.
Joe was kind enough to join us from his Laurel Canyon home, which he calls Nerdville, which houses many of his 500 vintage guitars and amps. Please enjoy our interview with Joe Bonamassa.
What is a rock and roll confessional? I mean, like the Roman Catholic in me is like, bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been, 35 years since my last rock and roll confessional.
Okay, and what's your new confession, Mr. Bonamassa?
I play too many notes and I don't care anymore.
Thank God you play too many notes.
Well,
dude,
I play the notes the other people don't.
Yeah, there you go. And that's
more, and that's what it says on the ticket. It says more notes for your dollar or your money back. So
love it.
Who's counting? Who's got time to count?
Believe it or not, people. There are people. There are folks
that are more apt to get their money back than to enjoy your show.
No, we live in an era of faux intellectualism, meaning it's like, oh, I would have chosen different notes. Oh, okay. It's like that scene in the Mozart movie, when
Salieri.
When they say the director of the opera says there's just too many notes. Like, well, what notes do you have in mind, sir?
Good Lord.
And you go, well, which ones did you have in mind? And which ones would you play differently given the situation? Given that every time I pick up a guitar or someone picks up a guitar, we are somehow in this life and death scenario where we have to play ourselves out of danger, like it's an episode of Scooby-Doo or something like that. I'm like, I don't get that. I don't. It's like it's like or like we're the A-Team driving around in a van solving. Like what logic is that? You either like it, or you don't.
Exactly. Yeah. You're going for the music. Enjoy every note.
Or not. There's two choices. Life is about choices.
That's true.
And the closer I get to 50, the less I care. I still love playing, and I still have a very high standard for not only myself, but the band and the show and everything else. But I don't care what anybody thinks. I am who I am. I'm not going to change for anyone, nor should I.
Exactly. And thank God you didn't, because
right.
I'm sure many times you could have been compelled to do so. But officially, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this podcast. Longtime fan here.
Thank you.
Huge respect and admiration for what you do, your talent, your business model, your authenticity. And it's just a real honor to speak with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, no, thank you. Thank you for being here. You got a new album coming out on June 21st called Live at the Hollywood Bowl with Orchestra. You have played so many iconic venues across the world, like the Royal Albert Hall, the Sydney Opera House, Carnegie Hall, and then Hollywood Bowl. What did that mean to you? And can you list a favorite?
Every time we go back to the Royal Albert Hall, it never gets old. We just did our 12th and 13th show there back about 2 months ago, a month and a half, and it was the opening 2 nights of the European leg of the tour, and we stayed at a hotel that's close to the Albert Hall, and I walked to work, which is great, and I just walked down Hyde Park, and there she is. And you can't miss it. It's on the left. And you get in there and it's just like, you guys, this never gets old.
Yeah.
And I there's a couple of artists that are on our the label that we partner with, Mascot. The guy who owns it, Ed Van Zyl, was there, and he brought a couple of his newer signings and younger artists, and we were, one was before the show and one was after the show, and I said talking to these guys, and they're like, "What's it like out there?" And I simply said, "Let me show you." So there's nobody in the house is clear, and one was before the show, one was after the show. I said, "Here, come out here, stand right in the center, right by my microphone, and look out. Tell me if that'll ever get old." And they're like, "Oh my God." I said, "Yeah, it's the first time was nerve-wracking, and it gets easier as you go. But it never gets old. I mean, Red Rocks never gets old."
Yeah, Red Rocks.
We've had some wild adventures musically at Carnegie Hall, Radio City, the Beacon. We've done 2 DVDs at Red Rocks. We've done DVDs at Albert Hall, Vienna Opera House. Trying to think where else. We've Sydney Opera House. I mean, they never get old. They're iconic places to play for a reason. And it's not lost on me that we've been able to accomplish this over the last 20 years. And it started with our DVD adventure started with Pierre's in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then our second one was done at Rockpalast in Germany, and it was done in the horse stables of an old castle.
Oh my God.
That was owned by a rich gentleman, the castle. They used to do gigs in these horse stables, and they had a bar, and it was like 300 people. And it looked great. It looked medieval, because it was, but it wasn't in a castle. It was in the horse stables of the, and I got to meet the Count that day. And I remember him saying, and I was like, he had all this medieval stuff in his house. And I was like, wow, I never met a true Count. And the guy who promoted, he goes, "You still haven't." He bought the title. I was like, okay, even better. I didn't know you could buy that. I didn't know you could buy the Count status. He goes, "No, you buy it it comes free with the castle."
That's kind of cool. You could actually do that, because you sound like you're an Anglophile, love England so much.
I do. I do. I always say I got to the blues through London, not Chicago. I went through London before I got to Chicago. John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, the Beano album, that was my gateway to, listen, if you were a suburban white kid in the 80s, it was Van Halen, Clapton, the Beano record, Stevie Ray Vaughan,
Yep.
Robert Cray, and the Showdown record from, was Robert Cray, Johnny Copeland, and Albert Collins. Those were your Bibles, and I listened to Cream's version of Spoonful before I knew who a Howlin' Wolf was, and then eventually you start making those connections, and you go, oh, okay, there's a guy named Hubert Sumlin, and there's Muddy Waters, and the Three Kings, BB, Albert, and Freddie, and you're like, wow, what a catalog, what singers, I mean, they were all just apex level singers.
But so much of this you were doing as a little kid, like you were 11 years old, digging up these bands and these artists and admiring them at such an early age, which you would think what you hear on the radio is what's going to really hit you, but that's not what it was.
I'm 47 now, and I started my career when I was just 11 going on 12. And so that's 36 years I've been doing this. And, I got to meet a lot of those people before they passed. The only person I obviously, they were like, did you meet Freddie King? I'm like, no, he died a year before I was born. How old do you think I am? And I didn't meet Albert, but I obviously met B.B. King at a very young age. I met James Cotton at a very young age, Albert Collins at a very young age, Gatemouth Brown at a very young age, Danny Gatton at a very young age. I mean, I Duke Robillard when I was a kid, and Ronnie Earl and all these guys, and they would pass through upstate New York as a gig, as a routing day, and they were nice enough to have me up.
Well, you opened for BB.
I did.
At what, 12?
My God, yeah.
I mean that's starting off your career, and you didn't even have a career at that time. I mean, how cool is that?
I would argue I don't have a career now, but
we'll give you a little more credit.
maybe a little bit. No, I mean, I was a kid in 8th grade, and we were doing gigs on the weekends because I was in 8th grade. And, there's kids now, you're like, what are you doing out on a Tuesday night? Hey, what are you doing on a Tuesday? What are you doing in a club on a Tuesday night? You're like, wait a minute, you got social studies.
Yeah.
But the blues is social studies in a sense.
It is, but you're in 8th grade.
Yeah. You're not supposed to.
Yeah. They're not going to give you credit for, sitting in with B.B. King. You need to know how to, you need to know algebra. But
and how many times have you used algebra in your musical career?
I'm good at math because you have to be good at math in this business.
Yeah.
To be, to be good at this. I'm lucky that my manager now, 35 years, he went to college, and he got a degree in accounting, and we both share the same love for fiscal accounting, and it's because and that goes to the old notion, like a lot of artists, you go like, listen, you're in the music business, okay? Yeah. Know the second word. You can't just be like one of those artists, be like, oh, I don't know, I just play guitar around here. Well, and then don't complain you got ripped off.
Exactly.
Listen, my mom said that a long time ago. My mother said to me, she's like, that Joe, that people don't like stupid guitar players. You gotta at least be smart and educated. You can't. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, and because it would have been very easy for me to be like, to not go to high school and just pursue music. I know people have done that, and I graduated because I wanted to. I didn't go to college because I knew what I wanted to do, and I had a career. I had a career started, and it's not taking anyone who's gone to college. It's like you there's a lot of people come out of college that don't know what they want to do. In my case, at 17 or 18 when I graduated, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Like, well, just shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Just go accomplish that.
And you had some struggling points to get there also. It wasn't all smooth sailing, but now you've obviously figured it out. And again, we go back to the brand new album, which hasn't come out yet, but the Hollywood Bowl with the orchestra.
My God.
First off, I want to be clear. Was that a one-off? Was it with the orchestra? Was that a one-off?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious, how does the orchestra know to play with you, or were you guys in rehearsal like a month before?
No, we rehearsed the day before.
Wow.
God.
And our friend Jeff Bova, who's a legend in the string business, was nice enough to come tour with us for a month. He came on the road with us, which he never comes on the road. Okay. For 18 years of working with him, I'd never met him. I didn't know who he was. I didn't recognize him the first day of rehearsal. I'm like, oh, you're Jeff? talked to him on the phone a bunch. He's kind of recluse, but he came out and he played. He had what we calls the Bova Orchestra, which are keyboards and computers that replicate the charts. So we were rehearsing to the charts. Now the chart writing process took 3 years. So this was a 3-year one-off. So you can't just waltz up there at the Hollywood Bowl,
right?
And go to David Campbell and like, okay, in a 3 and a 4. It's not going to work. They need to have something. So they're very specific charts to these things. It's not like there's no improv with an orchestra. You have to stick to the.
That's what I would think. But I would think your solos. I mean, is it just like a blank space, like time for Joe to do a solo?
Yeah, you have 8.
Okay.
You have 16 bars. Do what you want. But
nice.
Be sure to start singing after those 16 bars.
Yeah.
Don't make it 17 because you're done.
Everything's off.
Everything's off, and that's the thing. It's like they're as fearless as they are wonderful. They will drive it off the cliff because if it says it in the book, they'll play if there's a note that's off. Like the day before, we found a few notes that were off, like in the chart. You know, like just clams. Good thing we did the rehearsal.
Yeah,
and because they were like, the violinists were probably like, oh, this is weird, but doesn't matter. We're being paid to play what's on the sheet, Yeah. And that's the reality of that world. And it was great. I'm very proud of it. And I hope everybody enjoys it.
We've heard like 4 tracks from it. If Heartaches Were Nickels.
Yes.
A Warren Haynes song, right? 24-Hour Blues.
Yes.
Last Matador of Bayonne.
Yeah.
And a song that just grabs me because I love Chris Whitley. Ball Peen Hammer. God.
Yeah. And we revisited that version from my Slow Gen album. And Jeff Bova, who toured with us, wrote the original string charts to Ball Peen Hammer. So we're like, hey, Jeff, do you still got the copy of that thing laying around?
Yeah.
But all those songs really lent themselves to orchestra, and we opened up what you didn't see at the Hollywood Bowls. We actually opened up for ourselves. We did a lot of the original material, up tempo stuff. And because the Hollywood Bowl said we need to have an opening act, we're like, well, this is a big night.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to like get screwed up. So we're like, we'll do it ourselves. How narcissistic is that? Can't find an opening act. I'm going to do it myself. So we went out and played a 45-minute set of like up-tempo original stuff. And some of the subscription buyers in the front were going, hey, the opening act's really good. And the fans were like, that's him.
But it was the band, right? It wasn't with the orchestra, right?
Yeah. It was an 8-piece band.
Yeah.
And we went out there and we blew all the cobwebs out and then took a half-hour break. And then now it's time to get serious. And we played 90 minutes with the orchestra, 89 minutes and like 37 seconds. And the union guy was about ready to shut us down.
Checking the watch.
For real, looking at the watch. And it's 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes to bows down. And they will. Middle of the gig.
Yeah. Wow.
We're done.
Wow. Incredible.
It's hard to know how long this thing's going to go, because it was the first and only time we sat. I mean, like we rehearsed the day before, but we didn't run it down for time.
Yeah.
We ran it down for just to get to know you and like, okay, is this going to work? And we had to fix a lot of stuff, so the first and only time that we did it was with the LA Phil at the Hollywood Bowl. And we're fixing to do it again next year. Now that we have the charts, we're fixing to do it again next year. I think we're going to do it in Holland at the North Sea Jazz Fest with the Dutch National Orchestra. Now that we have the charts,
makes it a lot easier.
At least we have proof of concept and proof of success.
Yeah.
And and we'll revisit it now that we have the charts probably as many times as we want.
Got to get to your business model, because I've seen the record industry, like you said, music business, ruin so many acts or not give them credit. And you went around all of that, which I absolutely love. You promote your own shows. Yeah. You do it all. You have the best website for music stuff I've ever seen of any artist. I go on there all the time. It was like 2 years ago, I needed a fly swatter. I couldn't find one in the store. Fly swatter.
Oh, you want?
I go to Joe Bonamassa and I got 2 of the guitar shaped fly swatters. I mean, things that you don't think of, but my God, it's there. It's genius.
It's quality product.
It is quality product, and it's stuff that I want. If you got a man cave or a she shed, it's like that Fender clock is the next thing I'm going to get, that looks like a Fender amp, go to the Joe Bonamassa website and just check out the shop. I mean, let alone all the music, all the t-shirts, everything. Yeah. Everything, cookie jars, ashtrays.
Ashtrays. I'm using a Joe Bonamassa ashtray right now.
Let's see it.
It's probably full.
This is our Telecaster.
Oh my God. Yeah. You got a Telecaster.
But here's the thing. Now the critics will say I resemble like the Krusty the Clown of the blues, which is fine. I'm happy. I'll take it as a compliment. Okay. One of the things I'm most proud of in my career, probably the single most thing I'm proud of. It's not the Hollywood Bowl. It's not Carnegie Hall. It's not any of the legacy stuff. Is during the pandemic, I could have sat in this exact spot in my house here in Laurel Cane and looked out into the hills and said, I've been needing a break for 20 years, and here we go. I said, I don't want to do that because a lot of my peers and contemporaries were really struggling financially. And we went out and we started doing these kind of these streamathons and a lot of our Keeping the Blues Alive cruise alumni. I mean, everyone from Larkin Poe to John Oates to everyone, all, they would sit in they film themselves with a song. And then we do these 4-hour concerts with all these different things, and we raised all this money. We raised over $1 million for artists that were struggling financially, and we gave away over $1 million in the form of $1,500 checks. Originally, it was gas cards and checks, and then the gas cards became problematic, and people lost them. And it's like, here's $1,500, and
is that through the Keeping the Blues Alive Foundation?
Correct.
Okay,
and to the point where we're talking about the business side of it, is you have fiscally, you have to be responsible. And it's easy to, like my career is 36 years. It was 18 years of famine, 18 years of feast. It's exactly a halfway point.
Right.
And it was no crossfade. It wasn't like, we're starting to do well. It was never that. It was either we were just trying to keep the business going, and then boom. Okay. But you never know if it's boom for 6 months or boom for 18 years. Yeah. And the reality is you have to set yourself up to where you could walk away at any point, or it could stop at any point, and you're not flat-footed financially. And by the easiest way to do that is to vertically integrate your company. And I know musicians hate to see themselves as an entity or
a business
brand or a business, but you can semantics. Okay.
Yeah.
It's you call it something else, but you are a brand and you are a company, and you have to be fiscally responsible, not only to yourself, but to the people that work for you. Now, if you have people that work for you, and because now I have employees that have been there 20 years in my company, and I've seen them going from a 21-year-old, fresh out of college. Now they're, 2 kids and all this, in the business. By vertically integrating, you take out a lot of percentages that you'll be giving away, and you take out a lot of people's, you're not adherent to like, oh, my A&R guy left the company. Do we even have a record deal? Probably not. My agent is booking, not only myself, but 18 other acts. And we got these huge gaps in between tours, and we're not making any money. And the guarantees are not going up or down. It's that you hear this time and time and time. It's almost like a cliche.
It is.
And, people hopscotching management, hopscotching agents and labels, and never finding a forever home and never really getting any traction. And most importantly, after all of that, not owning anything of it. You know what I mean? They don't own their own masters, you know. And I tell people, it's like, well, like, it's easy for you to say you got this huge website and this machine. I said, well, you know, it started with one T-shirt. The whole thing started with one. It didn't just appear out of, you know what I mean? I mean, my manager, like I said, Roy Wiseman of 36 years. I mean, you know, that's a full-time job, keeping that thing going, the website and the marketing and we have people in sales, we have people in ticket sales, we have people in that all they do is buy ads, you know, advertisements for shows. And you start explaining this to other artists and you can see them kind of like get that kind of pale look and blank stare. I'm like, remember, it started with one show. Yeah. And it started with one T-shirt, and it started with 4 people in a van with no trailer driving around the country. And that's how it started. And this is what it scaled to. And I can teach you how to do it, but you have to bet on yourself. And all of this is betting on yourself. And Vince Gill said it best, and I use his quote: if you're not willing to bet on yourself or believe in yourself, how in the world do you expect anybody to believe in you? And it's not an ego thing. It's not, you don't walk into the room going, I'm the greatest thing ever. No, you just go, I'm good at what I do, and I deserve a seat at the table. Okay, there's no seats available for you, Mr. Bonamassa. Okay, I'm going to make a new fucking table. That's what I did. This is not your table. Okay, I got wood, and I got hammer and nail. I built my own table. So whatever is not being offered to you, you create your own weather. You create your own universe, your bubble. And I live in a bubble. I mean, it's of our own creation. And it very rarely, and it's starting to become more frequent now as I get older, and, you know, we're getting calls to do festivals that we would have been happy to do 20 years ago, you know, but they never called. And, you know, we just did New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival for the first time, and it was awesome. I was
there, and I missed you by that much.
And what a wonderful festival. And it was not a year had gone by in 30 years where someone would say, why don't you do, you know, and more recently in the last 5 years, or why don't you do the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival? I said, I cannot show up unannounced with 4 buses and 3 trucks and go, where do you want me to go? Okay. You got to ask me, and I'm happy to come down, you know, and it's become more and more frequently now. It's like, I think as we're well established at this point, and they're trying to recycle and bring in different people at a certain font size. And when they run out of a certain font size, or they do them too much, they come to me, you know, and it's fine. We'll do it. I'll do it. Better late than never.
Right.
And sure. You're just not going to get the festival rate from 2003.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no introductory discount. Okay.
Friends and family.
No, it's because I have 30 people.
Yeah.
It's horribly expensive, especially now. Plus, we work a lot.
And you also help so many other artists. You have your own record company, so that you can spread that karma, that beautiful legacy of making your own music and not having to worry about airplay or sales or all that kind of stuff. You know, you just give people a shot and a chance. I think you had Robert
Johnbeck and Joanne Shaw Taylor.
Yeah,
she's great.
They're on our label. And here's the thing: is there's so many great artists out there that fly under the radar. They're hiding in plain sight. And for years, I'm not saying I'm great. I'm saying I was one of them.
I was going to say, yeah.
hiding in plain sight. Not really, not a terrestrial radio darling. I mean, Sirius XM has always been great to me, even from before I had a show on the station, and in playing our music, and but the reality of it is, there's so many artists that are not embraced by the machine, the traditional machine, and that's everything from big management firms, big agencies, big record companies, and there's the machine. And if you're a darling of the machine, then those opportunities come fast and often. But there's a lot of artists that are out there that are super talented that are not embraced by the machine. But like, what are they supposed to do? Hang a sign that says "going out of business"? No. They're just as relevant as the ones that are embraced by the machine. Robert John and the Wreck.
Yeah.
Joanne Shaw Taylor comes to mind. My friend Paul Thorne comes to mind. Okay, Paul Thorne is amazing. Okay, Mark Broussard. Okay, amazing. Larry McRae. All the people that we've done records for. Jimmy Hall. All these people that we've done records for. Joanna Connor. And there's a place for them, and there's a way to break in. You're just not going to go through the front door. You're not going to go through the back door. You have to take a hammer and bust through the brick wall and make your own door. And
a table.
Here's my door. Here's my table.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is when you make your own table and you pull up some chairs, it's important to protect that, because it's like people follow in momentum, and they follow success, and they follow things, and they try to replicate that or try to get involved in that. And you're like, listen, man, you didn't believe in it 15 years ago. Why am I my table? Go sit at your table. And then that's it. And so when you set yourself up like that, you realize how much you're giving away in fees and stuff off the top line number, not the net. I mean, it's like you're paying percentages off the top, and then you pay your expenses. And you when you promote your own shows, dead cost of everything. Your advertising costs, your venue costs, how much the ushers are making, how much the IATSE's getting to push stuff in and out of the trucks, every single line item of every single show. And that transparency leads to profitability, because that you're going to make money on the road before we even set sail. You know what I mean? I know what the ticket sales are for the fall. I know what the ticket sales are for the summer. So we don't set sail until we know that this thing is fiscally stable.
Yeah. And you've got a big tour coming up, June or July through like end of November?
The end of July through the end of August. Then we take a break in September. Then we go back on October. But we're doing Blues Deluxe.
Volume 2.
Volume 2. We're doing the Blues Deluxe tour. So it's the 11-piece band it's going to be a lot of trad blues, and every decade or so I like to remind myself, because we venture off into, like, Time Clocks is almost a prog DVD. Every decade or so I like to remind myself and our fans that yes, I do consider myself a blues artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because we do have musical ADD sometimes, but this is going to be great with the horns, and the last time we did this, we did the Three Kings in 2015, tribute to BB, Freddie, and Albert, and we got nominated for Grammy for that DVD and that album, and it was a really cool project, and we just, it's 9 years goes by in a heartbeat. Here we are again, coming around again.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll catch you at the Long Beach show right down here in our hometown. So looking forward to that.
Starts November 3rd.
I think, at the Terrace Theater.
Love the Terrace Theater. That's don't they run the Indy cars right in front of that too?
Yep.
Yes, they do.
Yep.
In May.
Long Beach, I from where you guys are, okay, if you said on a Friday afternoon, I need you to drive to Long Beach from Laurel Canyon, which as the crow flies is what, maybe 20 miles?
Right.
Sure. Maybe.
15?
Yeah.
If someone said, hey, I need you to drive to Long Beach on a Friday afternoon from Laurel Canyon. I said, I'd rather drive from Houston, Texas to El Paso. Less time.
Yeah.
It would take
Well,
it would be a more enjoyable drive.
you're going to have to come down to us on that night,
Yes, but we travel at night in those big
there you go.
We
That's
travel
great.
at night, and there's no traffic on the 405.
Oh, okay.
Smart.
There's no easy way because I have a friend that lives in Palos Verdes, and we're in a rock band together, and I write songs for the records with him at his house in Palos Verdes, and you go down to 405, and then what is it, the 91 or it's the
Pretty much 405, and then you would go into Palos Verdes, and it's nothing but streets. You have to take streets.
The 110 south.
Yeah,
it's a beat down.
Yeah.
It's a beat down.
yeah.
I made a mistake of bringing an antique car one time, and that was the closest I ever came to overheating. And I'm just sitting there, just
Oh my God.
the heater is blasting because like that's the trick with an old car. You got to put the heat
Trying
on.
to cool it. Yeah.
You're trying to get heat out of the engine compartment. Well, it's coming into you, and I'm just going, Lord have mercy.
No kidding.
Oh my God.
Hey, you just had a birthday, and I heard you went fishing. I know you got to probably leave here soon, but I got a million and one questions for you. So
I turned 47 on May 8th, which I share
birthday.
I share birthday. Thank you. With Don Rickles,
Okay.
Lucky you.
former President Harry Truman.
Okay.
There's a few with Enrique Iglesias, Julio's son,
Okay.
and
Who?
that's relevant to this conversation.
Yes.
Turns out I was born on what would have been Robert Johnson's 66th birthday.
Oh my God.
May 8th as well.
Oh my God.
Weren't you supposed to be 2 days earlier?
Yeah,
Three.
did you talk to my mom?
Yeah, she called.
She called us.
She also asked you to bring home milk.
Yeah. So, well, yeah, I was late. Supposed to be the 5th, and then I can't.
Oh, how cool. I mean, a part of your documentary, I saw Guitar Man, where you go down to that area, the Delta Blues, and it's so spiritual. It's so many songs of redemption, and and the story of Robert Johnson and so forth. Did you feel all that energy down there at the crossroads, that whole area?
I can tell you this. All right, this is a pro tip, because Kevin Shirley and I, my producer now of 20 years, when we did the first Red Rocks DVD, Muddy Wolf, we had this idea to do like this kind of short form movie, and we flew to Memphis, and we rented a '57 Chevy from this kid who was an artist himself. Didn't realize it at the time, but he brought his own guitar and was certainly not shy by going, "Hey, let's jam." Okay, no problem. Got you covered. So we're driving this '57 Chevy from Memphis, Tennessee to Clarksdale, Mississippi. Okay. And I drove because Kevin was a little concerned about the drum brakes. And I'm like, I got you. I know old cars. You just got to start stopping about 500.
Exactly.
It's a bit of latency. It's not 4-wheel disc anti-locks. and we're mitigating the heat in the engine. So I'm watching this thing. And we drive to Clarksdale and we have lunch, and we get to the Blues Museum, which is great. We saw Muddy Waters' house, and we went down there and had some questions and really nice interaction with the curator and all that. And we went to lunch, and we went to the crossroads. And here I am. I parked this '57 in the parking lot of a Church's Chicken. And I'm on the corner of 61 and 49 or whatever. Yeah. And I'm looking around, I go, this ain't it. Okay. This ain't it.
Yeah.
And part of our trip, we were going to go to Rosedale, right? We're doing the Robert Johnson thing. We get to Rosedale, Mississippi. I go, this is it. And we show up, and that's where like the river and the levees and, Joe's Tamales and everything, a lot of the stuff that Charlie Patton referenced in those songs, Robert Johnson, and we ran into this guy who ran a nightclub there, and he goes, you guys are in the right spot. He goes, not many people make that connection. Rosedale, Mississippi. And when we went down there, telling us the story and about like they would hop the train. and the train would go to Clarksdale and come back, and that's how they, these blues guys would get around. And there's just something in the air in Rosedale, Mississippi that wasn't happening in Clarksdale. Clarksdale, they're happy to sell you the T-shirt and the fly swatter and the ashtray like I am. Okay, but Rosedale felt right to me, and it's not close, and you're going, wow, this was a real trek back in the 20s and 30s,
God, yeah.
And but you just go, this folk music that they were writing, and playing, called the blues, really, I mean, changed the world.
Yeah.
And thank God for people like, Alan Lomax, who in the 30s and 40s and 50s went down there with a car and a tape machine and started to document what was going on. Without that, probably a lot of the stuff there would be no record of it. Not like just not a record, but it just they were making a living playing juke joints and dance halls, and that's how they made a living, and on the street, and without a you wouldn't have found Sun House. You wouldn't have seen like all this stuff. It's just it was a perfect storm of music and the time, and it was a messed up time in the South, for African American people, and it was just, but they captured the stories and they put them to song, and it changed the world, and we're still talking about it. It's 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But that's what's great. We talked to George Thorogood a couple of weeks ago, and, it's like, hey, George, you introduced me to so many artists I wouldn't have never known. It's like, that's when I started like getting into radio and all that kind of stuff. It was like, I never heard that stuff. Now I heard like Led Zeppelin 1 and, like a lot of the music that they took credit for. I remember meeting Willie Dixon once, and I said, thank God you did what you did. And thank God you're getting credit, finally, for what you did.
Willie kept his publishing. He was hip.
Okay, that's good.
He was hip. Like a lot of those blues artists, they got ripped off.
Oh God, yeah.
Willie kept it. I shook his hand one time at Club Spice before Buddy Guy show.
Oh my God,
1990 or 89 or something. It was out here in Hollywood, and I sat in with Buddy Guy, and he was backstage, and he was huge.
Yeah.
Guy, and he's like, and I'm like just sitting in the backstage. He goes, that was very good, son. And I go, hi, I'm squeaky voice. I go, hi, I'm Joe. And he goes, my name is Willie Dixon. I go, oh my God, I know who you are. and I mean, those are the kind of things, those kind of memories you just go, but I did a deep dive into his world, and he kept his publishing and got credit for Whole Lot of Love and things like that. I mean, like talking about George Thorogood, I mean, like One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer. The first time I heard it, I thought it was George's tune, and then you're like, no, that's John Lee Hooker.
Yeah.
But again, there's nothing wrong in reinterpreting the music.
Yeah.
And the English and the white suburban kids like myself, sometimes online get a lot of flack for what the fancy term is cultural appropriation. It's like, no, it's appreciation of the music that inspired you. And B.B. King himself said Eric Clapton did more for the blues than anybody else because he introduced it to a different demographic that came to BB's shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. And it's just, you got to give credit to who did it first, and it arguably did it best.
Yeah.
But if people still enjoy my version of, Never Make Your Move Too Soon from B.B. King, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could talk all day, and I sincerely appreciate your time and,
no problem.
Just who you are, authentic, and, that you're doing for the community, keeping the blues alive.
Yeah.
And just how you write a lot of your stuff, so it's not all covers and stuff like that, which is beautiful. And I think that speaks to whole nother generation.
Yeah, I mean, it's 90% of my stuff is original, and then we have these adventures where we do covers, and I mean my stuff with Beth Hart is all covers and but reinterpretations of great songs, and wind her up and let her do her thing.
Yeah, she's awesome. We had her on the show a couple years ago. She's wonderful.
Black coffee.
Love her.
She's the one person that could sing that song. I told her like that, and she wanted to lower the key one. I said, "You're the only human being that could do it in Marriott's key." You know what I mean? And it's like when you sing it live, lower it to whatever. But in the studio, I kind of pushed her, and she nailed it in one take. I'm like, and she has no peers when she's on. It's like she has no peers. And that version of Black Coffee is like when I've been pitching that song for 3 albums, and finally the last studio album, I'm like, Beth, come on, let's just try it. If it's terrible, we erase it, and she's like, okay. Gets out there. I figure we'd like take a minute to get to. She just starts ripping into it. Like, let's go. It's one take. It's the first take and only take.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
All right, guys, I got to run.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, so much. Look forward to seeing you in Long Beach. Have fun with the tour.
On the tour, on the road, and then we'll see you. Thank you again.
Thank you,
guys. Everything that you do, man, and really appreciate the time.
Stay off the freeways.
Okay, you too.
See ya. Thanks.
All right, bye.
So I know we could have talked to Joe for hours about so many other things that, I think I had about 40 things on my list of questions just to bring up and talk to him about. I mean, the guy is fantastic. I know we are going to go see him. You got me a ticket for my birthday, so thank you very much. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you. And the guy is just incredible and such an incredible player. I highly suggest either go to our website and you can see some of the new videos from the DVD, or just check out YouTube, or go see him live in concert, because he is an amazing guitarist. And I want to say blues, but he expands so much more than just the blues. Yeah.
And that new album, Live at the Hollywood Bowl and with orchestra, has just been released, so you can stream it or purchase the CD, vinyl, and DVD at Joe's website. And once again, I cannot stress how much I love Joe's website. What did I get again?
Yeah, you got a fly swatter?
I got 3 fly swatters, I think, when I needed them. I think I've used it once since a couple of years ago. But it's pool season, and on his website he's got this like big ass amp float, and so that's a purchase that I'm going to
There's like about 7,000 items you can purchase from him on there. It's an incredible. Just the merchandise part is incredible, but the whole website is very detailed. So special thanks to John Bleicher and Pam Massey for coordinating the interview. Joe Bonamassa tour and merchandise can be found on his website, which is just the letter J, Bonamassa, BONAMASSA.com.
Follow Joe on social media, both Instagram and Facebook, at Joe Bonamassa. The new album, Live at the Hollywood Bowl with Orchestra, available now. Check out Joe's nonprofit, Keeping the Blues Alive, at keepingthebluesalive.org.
And check out our show notes at rockandrollconfessional.rocks. There you can find links to some of the subjects talked about in today's show, including links for tour information, album purchase, along with some great videos from the new DVD, and also some rare photos that have been released just to us, I think. It's kind of cool. Kind of cool.
It's a great, magnificent website and all good stuff, and check it out. And I think that my new float, my Bonamassa float, is gonna be like my island. It's so big.
Wait, what is it like? Are you talking a pool float?
Yeah.
Oh, so explain to us because I didn't see that on there. So what does it look like?
Oh, it's big. It's like I can't even give you the
like Fun dimensions. Island, like 10 feet by 10 feet.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it could be that.
And what's on it?
A big amplifier.
Tell me you don't have to plug it in. You don't have to plug it in when you put it in the water.
I just, I got it delivered like the day before yesterday. So it's just like I'm waiting for this weekend.
Oh, that sounds.
Joe Joe Bo Float. Oh, yeah.
Smokin Joe Float.
Bonamassa.
Hey, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. Also, we would appreciate it if you would
Are we still on?
Yeah. Also, we'd appreciate it if you'd take 1 minute to write a review and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Now you can say goodbye or whatever you want to say.
All right. Have a blessed week.
Yeah.
Enjoy the sun.
Yeah. Take care, everybody. Happy summer. And we will talk to you, see you, and hear from you soon. Bye-bye.